And welcome to the April update edition of the True Patriot podcast, folks. This is a pre-recorded podcast here and airing on April 17th. Why? Because long overdue, my wife and I have been on a small vacation here. We were supposed to do this back in February. Schedule didn't work out. We're on it now. So chances are I'm driving down the road right now. And so we are airing this one here today. You know, it won't be a long podcast, but we do have some cool stuff that we wanted to share with you. Some updates here, season updates, some True Patriot Outfitter updates, some fishing updates, you name it, man. We have quite a bit of stuff to kind of go over. And so without further ado, we'll just go ahead and first pay the bills. This episode brought to you by Blackfish Gear and All-Terrain Tackle. Together. Blackfish, you guys know my love for the Blackfish weather gear out there, man. It's springtime. That's when the weather is usually tricky. You can never count on it. It's bouncing all over the place. Blackfish has you covered. You buy the gear. You get the gear one time, it takes care of you, and you can focus on fishing. You can focus on kayaking and the beautiful surroundings you're in and not worry about the weather. All-terrain tackle bass jigs, flat out, dude, they catch big fish. That's all there is to it. And so, yeah, we rely on both of those guys, not to mention the fact that the mothership company above all these guys is Clam Outdoors, and the people behind these organizations are phenomenal. We love them, we trust them, and we're proud to be a part of the All-Terrain and Blackfish family. So having said all that, let's go ahead and get underway here. And let me see. I'm trying to get over to a page. Yeah, there we go. So our first TPO Unlimited Kayak Fishing Adventure trip of the year just took place 2 days ago on a private lake, thanks to Terry Dorr and Colorado Outdoor Adventures for providing us access to this lake. The beauty of this lake is not a lot of pressure on it. There are plenty of bass in the water. And, we were able to get out there safely and introduce E4 Petty Officer Third Class Dan Garcia to kayaking and kayak fishing specifically. Dan had never been kayaking. He'd never been out in a fishing kayak. He had never been bass fishing specifically. His experience with fishing was that of trout primarily here in Colorado, like a lot of people. And so this was a double whammy for him. And several times throughout, we're going to have Dan on the podcast eventually here. We'll get you on there when our schedules line together better. But one of the things he said a few times that really struck home to me was, even if we weren't fishing, just riding around out here on these kayaks on the Unlimiteds, he was having such an amazing time just cruising around the lake with this. Now, Dan was running in a thunderstorm-colored Unlimited powered by a Newport Vessel 180 EPS and with a 24-volt amped battery powering the deal there. And of course he was riding in luxury, man. He was cruising around up there super easy to, learning curves, not that big on those Newports to pick them up. Plus we had the new canoe foot steering enabled for him. So he was able to just fish and focus there and learn the systems. He had an absolute blast, with this piece here. So I'm going to share a couple pictures for you here real quick. Let's see if we can pull that up. All right, we're going to do that. We'll present a screen here. And let's see what we have here. All right, there we go. So, first one here, this is Dan. I think this was fish number 1. Yeah, this might have been fish number 1 for him that he hooked up there, which was pretty phenomenal. Got him on that one. And this might have been fish number 2. And literally his first 2 bass ever caught came off of an original chatterbait with a Kitech trailer that I put on here for him. He threw it out in about 10 foot of water. There was a rock pile down at the bottom, just a little kind of a lone rock pile. I had caught one with a swim bait off the right side, so Dan threw over on the left side. His first 2 fish came on back-to-back cast, man. It was It was awesome. Just seeing the excitement on his face when he hit those two fish, man. That was he's I think he's hooked now. He was going to go home and talk to his wife about needing to get one of the unlimiteds. There's a picture of Terry standing up in his new canoe unlimited. He's got the pivot drive and there's our pedal system. He's got that, and he's out there fishing some docks, standing up, pitching and flipping. And then one of the cool things about this lake that we had over there is actually a phenomenal restaurant that's literally right on the lake. We were able to dock our kayaks up at the dock, tie them up, walk up. That's why you see us sitting there in our bibs, eating lunch. I think it was about 1:30, 2 o'clock by the time we got up there. And yeah, man, we had a phenomenal meal, great staff, super friendly service, and food was off the chain. That was super tasty there. Yeah, there you can see we're able to bring the unlimiteds in, our little fleet of 3 New Canoe Unlimiteds, and dock them up here. We had a mini little commercial going, man. We had the bow mount on mine, we had the EPS motor on Dan's, and then Terry's got the pivot drive there. So you're able to see all the different variations. This was afterwards, after all the cleanup. We actually had to move the kayaks down we had to haul them down there, so we had to kind of, hump some gear up and down the hill there a little bit. So I'm huffing and puffing at that point there. These guys, both those guys, in way better shape than me. But just standing at the back trailer there when we're all wrapping up. And yeah, man, I just, flat out, that was what we are here for. That giving that experience of kayak fishing and just kayaking in general, and being able to put them in such premier equipment as the New Canoe Unlimited and let them, experience just what it can be out there is something that we are so grateful for, and to have that opportunity to bring that. And if we get Dan the bass, hunting bug now that he wants to get involved in kayak fishing, we talked up and told him quite a bit about the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club. It's a great resource for folks trying to learn about kayak fishing and connect with people that are super helpful. That was, for sure, that is the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club and those folks over there. And so we talked about that. We also talked about the Colorado Kayak Bass Masters, for the little bit more serious. I shouldn't say serious. I don't mean this in any way, but just for once you're really into tournament fishing and you're looking to up the ante. I mean, our entry fees are a little heavier at the CKB than standard out there, and so it's you really got to feel confident in your skills when you join up the CKB or be ready to go to that next level. So we talked with him about that. And who knows, maybe tournament fishing just isn't for him. He just wants to get out and go fish. And that's where the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club comes in, is they have tournaments also, but they also just have very, very friendly folks that just get together and go fishing on the weekends, man. And that's what this thing's all about. It's just getting out and experiencing it. So for Dan and his family, he's got kids and such. So we were talking about the future, about possibly getting he and his kids out. We're trying to work on, at the TPO here, we're trying to work on finding a resource for some shore fishing, like some good pond fishing, where we can do some good kids events. As much as I would love to say, we have a ton of kayaks to take people out in, we do have a limited number by design. And so trying to get, too many folks all together in the kayaks, that becomes a trick, just logistical management at that point. So when we have kids and families involved at a higher level, we'd like to have a source of a place that we could take them and let them experience fishing, get in the outdoors, and just basically spend some time. So we're working on that right now. If anybody out there listening, if you guys happen to know of a private lake of some sort that would be helpful, in a case like this, please reach out to us. Let us know. We're always looking to partner with some folks and work with some people out there to see if more resources we have in our belt there, so to speak, the better. So that's one of those areas. But yeah, man, that was a ton of fun. Super, super excited to get out with Dan and make new friends with him. Dan is an awesome person, and we're very thankful for his service to our nation. So on the Romans Warrior Foundation front, man, things are starting to heat up and getting ready here. We've already had one deployment of the wall up in North Carolina. We've got a massive event coming up at the end of June, beginning of July. This is going to be in Marion, Illinois. We're going to this. We're going to be representing the RWF Field Ops Division. We're taking the kayaks out that way and have a chance to kind of share our mission as part of one entity of the Romans Warrior Foundation there. So this is going to be that time of the year and that part of the season where a lot of the schedule really starts to pick up. And this is where we can use your help out there, folks, with either sharing our posts about the events we're going to. If there's ways that you think you can volunteer with the True Patriot Outfitters of Romans Warrior Foundation, please let us know. If you're just interested in getting involved on some level, reach out to us. Let us get your name in the books there and your contact information so that if something does come up, once we learn about you and what your interests are and where you're looking to help out, this could really turn into something super good. We at the TPO side are always looking for help in the fundraising department. It's about our season where we're going to start seeing us out at the King Supers, a couple of outdoor companies that sell outdoor goods and sporting and fishing. We're going to be posted up in front of those organizations with our table and hopefully a kayak in the truck out there, and just introducing what it is that we do and the mission that we're on, and just sharing that mission with folks here in the Colorado area. So we're always looking for folks that are willing to come out and sit at those tables and help share the mission of what the True Patriot Outfitters is all about. So if you're interested in doing that, finding ways to give back, I'm telling you, there's tons of ways you can do it. Again, just sharing our posts and liking and following, commenting, sharing, to your friends, introducing, getting us more followers through YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Those are our three main that we do. And for sure, YouTube's a big one. Getting more subscribers there, that always helps with the podcast here, and of course, on our social channels. The reason that's such a big deal is because it's just more audience. It's a larger audience that we have for potential corporate sponsors, for small businesses, for bigger businesses. We can help attract that. They see what sort of impact we're having in this digital world, and they absolutely can benefit from that when folks see that they're supporting us and supporting the mission that we're on. So these are all big deals, and they're all ways that you can help. And like I said, even if you're unaware, but you want to help in some way, reach out to us. Hit us up, connect with us, and we will absolutely find a way to get you involved somewhere. Last but not least, we are always looking for kayak anglers that are willing to help us at some of our events. Having an experienced kayaker and a kayak angler on board with us really helps when we go out and do these type of trips, because it's an extra set of hands, it's an extra set of eyes out there. And when we start taking multiple people out at one time, having a few of us together, that's going to be a ton of help out there. So if you are a kayak angler, especially involved with any of the clubs we've talked about, and you want to find ways to help volunteer and become a part of this mission that we're on with these trips, please reach out to me. DM me, email me, hit me up. You got my phone number more than likely. Hit me up there. Whatever it takes, let's get you involved, and let's get out and let's do some fishing. Let's introduce some folks to kayak fishing and show them why we love it so much. So, man, these trips that we do, I can't express enough, could not be possible without several companies that have made this possible. Obviously, New Canoe. They made it possible for the Romans Warrior Foundation to initially get this fleet of Unlimiteds, and then Romans Warrior made it possible for the True Patriot Outfitters to utilize this fleet of New Canoe Unlimiteds. And talk about a support structure, man. The Unlimited is the flagship for the New Canoe lineup. There's no question. She is an amazing craft, capable of so many things and so customizable to suit your needs. So Blake Young, Brian Conley, Brian Schiller, Lori on the inside, and the entire team of folks on the inside there at the warehouse, from billing to shipping, manufacturing, New Canoe has done a ton for us. Now, once we got the vessels here, we needed to get them outfitted, and there has been no one that has contributed more to us outfitting the entire setup than Johnstown Shields. Johnstown Shields has provided PFDs for all these events. So each craft has its PFDs for them, fishing nets, safety flags, rod holders, paddles. I'm telling you, man, they have decked us out for each one of these, so that when these warriors get a chance to get out on the water, they get a chance to do it the right way. You know what I mean? And that way they can really enjoy the experience of what they're doing there. And that's it's such a huge deal. Johnstown Shields has contributed a ton to help us put this into position. And if that weren't enough, what they also did on top of this, they donated rods and reels, combo sets to us that we can give to these guys. I have the photos and such. We haven't posted them yet. I'm going to wait for social media there so we make sure we give Johnstown Shields the proper shout out. I may have already done that by the time this airs, but they provide a Shields Outfitters with a Fluger reel that's on this thing. It's a beautiful rod and reel combo. Great little spin casting setup here. And they provide, Dan actually took that home with him. That's his now. On top of that, there's my phone going off. On top of that, they donated Plano tackle boxes. So a tackle bag to get somebody started. Great assortment of gear, storage options on this thing. Lots of good compartments, perfect size to really get you going and get you started. And that's all from Johnstown Shields. They dedicated that. And on last but not least, a set of pliers. With some line cutters and snips, braid cutters, and a nice set of nail clips used for a little bit finer line. That's a nice little combo set from Shields Outfitters. This is all from Johnstown Shields, and Dan got a chance to take that home with him as well. That was in there. One of the other areas that I've always said with this is that I have such amazing sponsors. Vicious Fishing donated last year and this year, not only to my fishing career, but also to allow us to be able to get some items together that we could send with. And so Dan walked away with a couple awesome t-shirts from Vicious Fishing. So he'll be repping the Vicious brand out there. On top of that, we set him up with just what he was fishing with that day and using. We set him up with some braided line for the spin cast as his main backing, and then some awesome Vicious Fishing fluorocarbon line. And so he was running a floral leader on there that I tied up an FG knot for him on there that the evening before, just to make sure he had it on there, because end of the day, man, I'm still a huge FG knot fan. It is the best knot, in my opinion, for that connection, and it slides through the guide so nice and easy. So we set him up with that. So he had that set up, and he was using that 15-pound main line with a 12-pound leader on it. And yeah, man, talk about just perfect. Even throwing that chatterbait out there. I noticed pretty quickly when we got on the water, we were starting off with some more finesse baits. And the moment that I saw that riprap that you saw in some of that picture, I was like, man, I got to throw a swim bait against this. So I did. I picked up my swim bait rod, big old 7.6, 13 fishing Muse lineup. And I slung this up there with a largy smasher jig on it and a nice Berkeley trailer, about 4.5 inch swim bait. And literally second cast, yoink, we hooked up. Threw out again, second or third cast, and this water was so gin clear, and I was sitting in about 4 to 5 foot of water, and I literally watched two fish trace up my swim bait. They were basically shadowing behind, one big one small one, and as I was sitting there, as soon as I saw them, I just killed the bait and let it sit. That little one come up and grabbed it, just put it in his mouth, and so I just yoink, caught two of them. So I immediately knew, okay, they're looking to chase, right now. So finesse probably, we could have caught him with that, but there's nothing that beats a good, chasing bait presentation fish. So that's why we took the wacky rig off of Dan's setup there, and we hooked him up with a chatterbait real quick, and sure as heck, just boom, boom. He got several bites throughout the day, some short strikes, and then as he was getting used to it, yeah, like I said, back-to-back fish, just bing, bing. Super, super cool to watch him get on those, so tons of fun. Vicious Fishing, though, like I said, man, they provided it. You'll notice Dan was wearing blackfish bibs during the day, just to make sure, because we started the day off a little cool. And you just never know with the cloud cover. Didn't know if we were going to get some rain. So he had the blackfish bibs on that he was running there. Amped Outdoors. I mean, they provide the power for all this stuff for us. again, I've said this before, even if I'm not fishing tournaments out there, man, I am surrounded by, in my opinion, just the absolute best companies on the planet. Every one of these people that are behind these companies have made this possible for us to be able to take folks out, do these kind of things. And then, yes, also, keep me on the competitive trail out there so we can try to bring more awareness to these causes with Romans, Warrior Foundation, with the True Patriot Outfitters, all of our offshoots with, the Hoosiers Disaster Relief Team, who was just in action. Of course, the Wall of Remembrance and probably none bigger than the Stop 22 tour. So it's a huge, huge thing that together, I've said this before, man, together we can do some awesome things, and we're living proof of it. We just continue to do it every day. But so huge shout out to all those sponsors and all those companies that help make this. Dan's taking home some Shields Outfitters stuff, some Vicious Fishing swag, and some Vicious line. He's getting started off the right way. And Terry was generous enough to also donate some baits from a couple of his sponsors so that Dan could get loaded up with some of his stuff. And of course, Terry providing us with access to that lake was just top rank, man. And we had the three of us had a lot of good laughs out there, and had an awesome time. It felt really good to see that calming over Dan's face. You know what I mean? You could just tell he was totally in the zone. He was enjoying life and loving being out there. And like he said, even if we weren't fishing, just riding around in the kayaks was unbelievable to him. He said he absolutely loved that. So that's super cool to hear. So, right about now, we're at the end. If it's Monday the 17th when you're watching this, or sometime thereafter, the Bassmaster event number, I want to say 2 is going off, and that is the Hartwell, South Carolina. We were going to fish that. That's why I'm going to South Carolina on vacation. The short story is, we made a strategic decision to pull ourselves out of Hartwell for many, many reasons. But by the time I did that, we were already going to, if we tried to pull out of the Airbnb, we were going to lose about half of our money on that. So my wife, Julie, was going to go with me anyway for this event, because we just, after me being on the road, so much there, we wanted to take one of these where she could come with me. And so we decided, you know what? We're going to the same area anyway. We're going to go snooping around, get to know the area. I'm not going to take the kayaks with me. I may or may not have a fishing pole in the back of the pickup. I don't know. We'll see. This Airbnb is literally right in one of the coves, right on the water, right on Hartwell. So this should be a lot of fun. If I see any guys come through there, I'll have to heckle them if I know them, and ask them, "You're not really going to submit that, are you?" Just give them a little razzing, and maybe come out. If I really know them, I'll come out on the dock, and go Karen on them real quick, maybe just to see how they react. It's, never know. I mean, just can't just be there and not do something. You know what I mean? So anyway, no, I'm hoping for good weather for these for everybody in the field out there when they go hit Hartwell. There's going to be a lot of tournaments going on at the same time. From bass boats and kayaks and everything. So this should be interesting to see how this all unfolds for those folks. Our next event is once we get back next Tuesday. So which would be a day after you're watching this, I'll be back in Colorado then that late afternoon, early evening. And when we get back, we'll have one day to prep, get ready, and then practice begins for Chatfield Reservoir here locally. A nice thing is I get to do practice and everything and sleep in my own bed at night, man, because Chatfield's only about 45 minutes away from the house here. So that is going to be a ton of fun. I love doing those type of events where I can actually stay at my own house and actually fish. For those of us that live in the northern region up here, man, there's not a whole lot of times that we get a chance to do that. You know what I mean? Most of the good fisheries are far, far away, so can't end up, just staying right where we're at. I know for you guys down in the south down there, it's kind of commonplace because you're within minutes of really good fisheries everywhere you look. That's not so much the case for us out here out in the Midwest, so it's going to be cool to do that. That's the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters. That's their season opener. I want to say That is the 22nd. Yes, that'll be a Saturday when we open up there at Chatfield. That could really be a burner, man. That could be an awesome, awesome event. I know there's a series that's also going on. Like it starts at 3 p.m. So about the time we're finishing up, their series will be getting underway. So hopefully the ramps aren't overly too crowded and things are nice and smooth for everybody involved. And I don't think we're going to have a ton of pleasure boaters out just yet. Just still going to be a little too early for that. But we'll see how it all pans out. But Chatfield can be a really fun fishery, man. There's some good fish in there. It can be a lot of fun to fish it. Or sometimes it can be stingy. So I think the weather's setting up good. I think the way the forecast right now is looking pretty sound, and I'm looking forward to learning this body of water. While it is close, I've only fished on it a couple times. So really looking forward to kind of unraveling it a little bit and seeing what we can find. And so that should be a ton of fun. And then after that, dude, after the CKB event is done on that Saturday, we have about 2 days off. And then we are on the road for the big event so far, the biggest event for us so far this year. And that will be the All-American Kayak Series Classic on Truman Reservoir. Going on at the same time is also a Trail Series event at Truman. So we'll be double dipping, but by far the big event here. We have 2 clubs going into Missouri with a slew of hammers on both rosters, and it is our objective collectively, one way or another, to bring that trophy back to the state of Colorado for the team level size. There's a lot of bragging rights when it comes to that, as far as which club does the best at this tournament here. So we've got a couple shots at it with the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club having representation there. Just some awesome anglers on that roster. And then, of course, the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters. We're going to be fielding a team there. So it's going to be a ton of fun, a slugfest. It is not easy to, I'll tell you, the Moyak Fishing Trail Series, for a regional level, I'm telling you, you're going against flat out killers in that field. Moyak Regional, they can. It's not unheard of for them to put 70, 80 kayaks in an event, and that's a regional event. And every one of these folks is just a hammer, dude. So that's going to be hard to dethrone them, especially in their own backyard. You know what I mean? That's not going to be an easy task. On top of that, there's an Iowa connection that's coming down. Of course, you got the Nebraska teams coming in, the Kansas teams coming in, Oklahoma. Bro, I'm telling you, it's going to be just an amazing field of so much skill. And just if you win this thing for a club, man, you have got something to hang your hat on, because you are going to have to earn every quarter inch of this, victory that's out there. It's going to require the very best for you to fish super clean as a club, as a group of people together. The best 5, top 5 from each club is how they'll figure the team stuff. Of course, then there's the individual side, dude. You win the Classic against that kind of competition in that field, brother, that is something to behold, and happens to be a pretty healthy double digit, in the thousands there. I think could be, 10 grand could be up for grabs, maybe more, for first place on this thing. So, of course, the Classic is primarily hosted by Everhart's Outdoors. You don't get a better event than when you go to an event that is hosted by Everhart's. They take care of people so amazingly. I know many of the people that work over there, many of the anglers that are on their fishing team, and I'm telling you, man, these folks are just super cool. I love going to this area and stopping by Everhart's and chatting with them, and just seeing these guys out on the water. Love when you have high skill met with really good people. You know what I mean? That's awesome to see. It's one thing to have high skill and just, these guys, some of these anglers that are high skill maybe are just not the most friendly to chat with. or they're kind of slimy here and there. I've met many of those individuals out there, and you just don't get that with the Everharts team, man. The Everharts team is just solid anglers, solid people, and I think it's just because of the fact that Everharts is a solid organization, dude, and they like to take care of the anglers that come down and compete there, and so that's going to be a ton of fun getting down in. And of course, you guys know me in the Ozarks, man. Put me in the Ozarks, I'm right at home. That is, I believe somewhere down the line, my ancestors had to come from that area because every time I get into Missouri and the Ozark area there, man, I just feel so at home. People are awesome. The environment is just second to none in its beauty. And yeah, we love getting our tail down there. So that'll close out the month for us, man, when we get a chance to get down there and get that big deal all lined up. We will have, let's take a look here. We're pulling up our schedule real quick. So, yeah, after Truman, we'll have a small break after Truman. The Classic and such takes place. Then we'll be back to the CKB going to Lake Pueblo, the scene of last year's state championship. I did not get a ton of time to practice on that body of water. If you guys remember or not, that was when my son had tore his foot up pretty bad in hockey. And so we needed to go get him an MRI on that. So family before anything, that's where I stand. So what that caused him to do is lose a day. So I got 1 day to practice on there. Right now, as it stands, that's not the case. I'm going to have myself a couple days to get down there and really, really settle in with a clean mind that's focused on fishing and not worried about my son's foot and his future with collegiate hockey. And so I'm excited about this one, man, getting down to Pueblo, spending a couple days down there, and really, really putting the work in and competing on this, because Pueblo is a beautiful, beautiful reservoir. And it might be possibly my most favorite fishery in the state right now for bass. Is down there. So the little taste that I got of it last year, was amazing, and I'm really looking forward to getting back there for sure. After that, after Pueblo, we've got the All-American going up to Lake Okoboji. And that'll round out the majority, of course, of the All-American stuff. That'll be the last All-American event until September rolls around for us. There'll be a couple more that are happening, but we're not going to be able to make those. So yeah, dude, it's going to be a pretty busy April and May. A couple of them going on in May. Right at the beginning of June will be the super fun. We'll wait for another podcast for that we're going to go down with the CKB on. But at any rate, that's what our future looks like here. In between that, we have openings for more bookings. What we are asking you as the listeners and the watchers of the podcast, if you know of a first responder, if you know of a veteran or an active duty military, anybody that classifies under the True Patriot Outfitters definition of American Warrior, which every one of those folks do, please let us know who they are. Let us reach out to them. Let them know where we are and what we're doing. Allow us to introduce them. At least give them a day worth of just going fishing, man. Let's go hunting for some bass. It won't be crazy. It won't be crowded. We'll make sure we're on good waters that allow us just to get out there and fish. If they've never been in a fishing kayak. And that's the thing to remind folks, man, not to go off on a tangent here, but a lot of times when we say kayak fishing, people immediately go to the whitewater kayaks. They think they sit down in them. You saw from those pictures with Dan, these Unlimiteds, man, these are sit on top. These are designed specifically for hunting and fishing. Okay, that is what they're designed to do. And we're going to take you out there in style, man. You're going to have good equipment. When you get out there, and you will have, usually one, if not two of us that are experienced anglers that are going to be right there with you, walking you through, and we're going to get you on fish, man. One way or another, we will put you on fish somewhere out there. And so that's it's a cool deal just to get out. So if you know of somebody, if you are one of those, reach out. We have available slots, and we're ready to go. We've got our first amazing donation was given into us by a private party who wanted to remain anonymous. This was just a private young family who set this up for us. And so we are ready to fly, man. We've got the budget open that we can do, these trips. We can get these things rolling here and start kind of getting the ground, work laid out there. So we'll get this stuff all put together. So please think of us. Please think of these folks out there and let us get rolling. I was at the mechanic shop last week getting just kind of an inspection done on the old bass buggy, getting the oil. I went ahead and just let them do the oil at the same time, made it pretty easy. And in the waiting room was a guy who had come in, and I noticed his plates were firefighter plates. So I sparked up and said, "Excuse me, are you the firefighter?" And he said, "Yes, I am." Ended up loading this guy up with a bunch of cards with South Metro. So we're hoping to start working with maybe some of these firefighter, associations and such. And dude, you don't need to be in a catastrophe. I don't care if you're having the greatest year, greatest day of the world. Let's go fishing. If you are going through some stuff and you could use a little getaway right now, let's go fishing. I don't care where you're at. Let's go fishing. You know what I mean? Let's get out there. I promise you'll be better off when you do. You're going to love it. It'll be a ton of fun. And there's nothing more pleasing to me than introducing somebody to this that maybe doesn't have this background, maybe didn't have access to these resources as a kid growing up. And this is kind of, their first introduction to really getting outdoors and chasing bass specifically. Being in a kayak specifically. I love introducing folks to this and seeing if we can we show them and share with them something we love so dearly and that has hooked us out there. So always a good deal. Like I said earlier on in the podcast, Dan left that thing and you could tell, man, the wheels were running. How do I tell my wife that we need to get a kayak in here? So I may have caused a little bit around the dinner table there, but it's all for a good cause. Because getting that addiction, if you will, of wanting to get out there, there's having good healthy habits, man, and that's one of them. That's getting outdoors, experiencing the outdoors, and going fishing, learning how to protect and take care of our fisheries properly and responsibly, with the given environment that's out there. All these things are so good on so many levels. A lot of positive vibes coming down the pipe on that. So. Listen, folks, that's pretty much it, what we've got going here. Like I said, we can always use your help. If you want to find ways to help support watching these podcasts live, watching these podcasts after they've come out, all these things are huge. Sharing this stuff, commenting, liking, following, all that stuff. And if you want to get involved in volunteering, reach out to me. We have opportunities. Even if we don't have it right now, reach out to me and let me get your name in the system here. Let me get a chance to get to know you and what kind of where your heart's at and where your skill set's at, because you just never know when things pop up. Special events. We like to be opportunistic about this stuff and seize these. We're trying to put together a huge event for next year, just because it was brought up to us and we started looking at this going, you know what, this could really happen. So we'll share more of that later. We're going to try to get something, like I said, put up together for 2024, and we're going to need volunteers for that kind of stuff. If you're a kayak angler involved in one of the clubs, or not even involved in the clubs, if you're a kayak angler who's experienced and you want to come out and help share your passion with fishing and such with us, reach out to me and let's get you on that on the roster there of anglers that are willing to come out and help us with these events, because we can never have enough folks around us to help us with these things. That's always a needed commodity. So please feel free to DM us, email us, call us, you name it, man. We're always looking for you. Listen, folks, we are going to go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. Thank you so very much for tuning in again for this little short episode we had here. And we'll have some more interviews coming down the pipe, but also you're going to be seeing, obviously the All-American Kayak Series. That's a lot of work we're doing during the tournament season. We got some cool folks that we've been reaching out to, we want to chat with, that we'll do some updates on. And if there is a special episode or something you'd like us to cover or go over, please let me know. Throw a comment down here. Again, throw a DM to me through Instagram or Facebook, throw an email, phone call, whatever it is. We'd love to hear from you and see what if you've got a special guest you think we should have on the show. We'd love to hear about it, and we'll get that stuff basically aired up and get it rolling out there. Any chance we can to have new faces and help spread the mission for us, we will absolutely do so. As always, folks, tight lines and be safe.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Together.